Hello, good morning, and welcome to nighttime because it's still dark here. Taste challenge. Stay in dark after 6 a.m. Then after 6, it'll maybe 6:15 start to lighten up. And it's gonna keep taking longer and longer to become daytime until December 21st. Then the days will grow longer, but they're still getting shorter. All right, that's how it works. All right, here is I have two. First, I have two 40% alcohol blended Scotch whiskies. One is well known, the other one is obscure, but has been around since 1962. This is Legacy blended Scotch whiskey, introduced in 1962 by the Sazerac Company, the original and current owner. It's only had one owner. It's not one that has changed hands. It's bottled at Buffalo Trace Distillery by the Sazerac Company. They own Buffalo Trace since I think 1990 when they bought it, 89, 90. There's no website listing, so we're wasting time trying to look it up. We don't know who makes it. It's produced for them by some probably big Scotch company that everybody knows about, but they're not going to put their name on it. Okay. It was $14.99 for this huge bottle. I can get a glass bottle. Now, if I go to a certain store on the west bank of the Mississippi River in Jefferson Parish, I can get the glass liter bottle. But it's too late now. I'm not going to do that. I got enough of this stuff. When I first tried it, I really liked it. And then my friend David tried it, and he really liked it. But I noticed that it deteriorated very quickly. And I think that had something to do with the air getting in the bottle, and it didn't hold up to air exposure. Now, this one here is Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve. You can see the green light from the camera shining on it. This was introduced in 2012, okay? Also, no age statement. Oh, I guess it's not going to focus. We'll show you the website, and then you'll get a better look at the bottle anyway. There we go. 50 milliliter bottle. There's the cap showing the Royal Warrant. They got a Royal Warrant like over 100 years ago. It's tight. Can't get a grip on it. Oh, I got it now. Sometimes you just can't get a grip. The hand will be sliding. Got one of those rubber things from the bank years ago, the round rubber. I call them grippers. I don't know what the real name of it is. A gripper, I call it. That's not enough. I was talking about the deal I got on the double black, Johnnie Walker double black, and off air, someone told me you shouldn't. He said he was watching it. And he said you shouldn't talk about that because it sounded like you're bragging and you were being greedy. That made a little hiss. Honestly, I wasn't trying to brag. I was just explaining, and I wasn't being greedy because I knew the store could get more. It wasn't like, they're not going to run out of Johnnie Walker double black and gold label reserve. And even if they do, the distributor is going to bring a new set in. It's common. There's no shortage of Johnnie Walker black label and gold label reserve. But the reason I did that was just to get a full size bottle because it was cheaper. It was very unusual because the 50 milliliter, as they call them, airplane bottles, because that's what they have on the airplane for exorbitant prices. Captive audience, right, on the plane. Usually they're much more expensive per ounce than a regular bottle. But this was a strange case where they was much cheaper per ounce than a regular size bottle, so I took advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, they still have it stocked over there in these little bottles, or they may not have this one, but they'll change it out. You know, like they'll. I think right now they got the green label or the platinum in there, and it's very expensive. And they have the blue label sometimes in the 50 milliliters, which will cost a fortune, but it'll give you a chance to try it instead of paying over $200 for the regular bottle. You know what I mean? And they bring in Whistle Pig, they bring in all kind of tequilas, all kind of brandy, cognac brandy, and they just put them in the little display case glass, and then you can it's so you can try stuff, sample it, and they restock it all the time. Never anything empty in there. Wick Sound says morning. Good morning to you. All right, so the Legacy is much lighter. It's more of a gold than the gold label. This is just a pale straw gold. Very light gold that you see with some jewelry and stuff. This one is amber. And it won't focus, but it's called Gold Label Reserve. It's just the labels gold. Okay, well, it's being stubborn. This camera is stubborn. And I have some friends that do online videos, and their cameras are stubborn too. And the guy's like, man, I paid $80 for this camera and it never wants to focus. And I'm like, yikes. I paid $30 for mine. Okay, let's go with the well, I'm glad I only paid $30, because if people are paying $80 for their cameras and they're not doing any better, I guess there was no reason to step up. Okay, Gold Label Reserve. Indulge in Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve with good flavor every moment. Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve blended Scotch whiskey, imported by Diageo, New York City. Of course, the headquarters is in London, England. Vibrant whiskeys are for their sweet honeyed qualities, and that's what you're going to notice when you buy this. It's honey tasting. To make this award-winning Scotch that plays nicely with others but always holds its own. And then they got the aroma, appearance, palate, finish, a lingering smoky finish. I don't recall smoke on this one. I'm not sure about that. Vibrant tropical fruit with smooth, creamy vanilla. I'm thinking honey myself. A rich golden glow. I'm saying more amber, but aroma sweeter with notes honey and caramel and a hint of fresh bananas. Banana. People often buy this with Johnnie Walker Double Black, which is what I did. Okay. And like I said, under a royal warrant, that means that they have to apply for this special commission in England, Scotland, England, United Kingdom, and they even have a website for it. I think it's called the Royal Warrants Commission or whatever. And whatever product you make, you can apply for a royal warrant, but you have to, of course, you have to pay a processing fee. And it's expensive, but that's to keep small time nagging people from bothering them, with any kind of mediocre product. They want people to pony up the money so that they can they got to pay the judges to look at it. And they want if you're going to pay that kind of money, obviously you're going to want to put your best stuff out there to be judged and to get it, because they could reject it and say it's not good, it doesn't meet the standard. So it could be, I don't know, it could be peanut butter. I don't know if they have British peanut butter produced under a royal warrant, official peanut butter of the royal family, but it could be. There's all kind of products, not just liquor. And so this one got that from, wasn't King Charles, I think it was like King Edward VII, that long ago, of the house of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Now it's the house of Battenberg, or as they anglicized it. You see, Prince Philip didn't like that German name because his sisters were living in Germany, married to National Socialists. I don't know if they were members of the National Socialist Party, but they were officers in the army. So they He changed it to Mountbatten, the English version. But I've seen videos of Prince Philip speaking fluent German. But but they don't call it that. They call it the House of Windsor, and the same reason, because Saxe Coburg and Gotha was German states, so they were like, well, we're at war with Germany, and some people are claiming we can't win because you're in some secret plot with the Germans to help them and all. And he's like, that's ridiculous, King George V said, I'm no alien. I'm not an alien. I'm not a foreigner. But he was feeling pressure. He's like, okay, here, therefore, and herefore, or whatever, however they say it. From this point forward, we shall be known as the House of Windsor, named after Windsor Castle. But really, it's just a made up name. It's not the real name. I could make up a name for myself. It wouldn't be my real name. It'd be like like actors have stage names, but a lot of times it's not their real name. Like Jerry Lewis, not his real name. Okay, but wasn't his real name. He passed away. But some do use their real name. Depends on the person. All right. But yeah, so that's the story on that. And the warrant is only for so many years. Then you have to renew. So they don't want you just living on past success. You have to send a new sample, and they'll evaluate it and decide if it's still meeting the quality standards. Of course, you got to pay the fee again and all of that. And then there was a thing when the monarch died. I was reading that website, and they were saying, well, you don't have to immediately change this. You could, you have up to, I think they said up to a year to resubmit it to be under a royal warrant of King Charles III. So it's not that critical, but it does have to be done, in a timely manner. King Charles III, King of Scotland and Canada and the Cayman Islands and the Turks and Caicos Islands and St. Vincent and the Grenadines Islands and so forth. All right, other realms and territories around the world. All right, I should be able to guess this on aroma only. Now, Legacy is not produced under a royal warrant. It's produced under a shadow. Oh, that smells kind of funny, and I don't mean in a comedic way. I am picking up a little smoke on this. Well, you see, in a comparative sense, you can pick it up, but in a standalone, you may not. So, okay, this has got to be the Gold Label Reserve, because there ain't no way in the world that the Legacy is smelling like this, that it does not have these aroma notes. No way, no how. $14.99. Do you get what you pay for? Yes, many times you do, not always. But in this case, I paid $14.99, and it tastes like I might have paid $1 too much. All right. But this one is worth it. But it's pricey. You're looking at about $70. I could check online, but it's not a cheap one. Got it. Got it on aroma only. Well, we may as well taste it for what that's worth. I could check Total Wine and More and see. Well, let's check Walmart. First of all, I want to see if Walmart sells it. They sell Johnnie Walker, but usually just the red and the black. I don't know if they sell any specialty. Oh, and they sell the greatest price on earth for the Johnnie Walker High Rye. Now, that's the truth. Everybody's got Johnnie Walker High Rye for $39.99 or more. Here's Walmart for $19.99. Been on that price point for a year. Don't know how that's being pulled off, but I know one thing. I took advantage of it. Now, my friend David had a lot of problems with that Johnnie Walker High Rye. He didn't think it tasted bad. He just said, it doesn't taste like Scotch. It tastes like rye whiskey. This is not how Scotch should be. I said, well, actually, it can be any way you want it to be. If you want to use, 60% rye malt, I guess. It's up to you. It's really your business. But it is definitely, like you said, non-standard. It's not a standard flavor. It's not what most people would associate with Scotch. But if you read the Scotch regulations, it does comply with the regulations. except maybe the part that says must have the flavor and aroma generally associated with Scotch. Now, the government of the United Kingdom could say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't have the flavor and aroma generally associated with Scotch. But then that could be controversial because you could say, well, what does that really mean? So, but they're not going to put the hammer down on this big company that's got so many government connections. And secondly, uh, they don't want to stifle innovation with the product. You know, they want those products out there getting popular, bringing in tax revenue to England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. You get it? Okay, so there's the gold label reserve. Like I said, 71.27. Yikes. The high rye, 20.27. Okay, it went up $1.28. Not a dollar. It went up 28 cents in the last year and a half. That's not much of an increase, 28 cents. That's a cheap. I'm telling you, you're not going to find that cheaper than that price. No way. Ain't going to happen. Legacy. Oh man. I I've never said it tasted bad. It definitely does not taste proper though. Definitely tastes weird. And when I think Scotch, I do not think of caramel candy, like a Werther's original. Okay, sorry. Johnnie Walker 18-year-old blend, 85.99. Woof. Johnnie Walker Scotch Lunar New Year of the Snake. Year of the Snake, $359.99. Oh, just that much? Johnnie Walker Blue Label, $229.99. Huh? $3.99 more than I paid, so it hasn't really gone up. Right. Green Label, $62.99. Where's the gold label reserve? Swing. Oh yeah, the Swing, 56. I've heard of that. Never bought it. Nice looking bottle. Oh, here we go. Gold label reserve, $67.99. Huh? $4 difference between Walmart and Total Wine. But I know Total Wine's Squid Games edition. Oh, that's just the world. I know Total Wine. They like to undercut everybody, so they probably have somebody working for them that just goes to the Walmart website, whatever price they have, they say, okay, you got to reduce it by so much, so they can be cheap. And that wouldn't do me any good because I live over 20 miles away from Total Wine more, so I'm not gonna pay $3 in gas to save $3 on the product. That would be nonsensical. Now, if I want to buy the product, of course, and I know I'm going to be in the area, well, yeah, of course, I'll wait to buy it over there, hoping they have it. Okay, you got me, Johnnie Walker. You're right. It is a little smoky. Is it a profound smokiness? No, the double black's got that going on with the charred barrels and all. Um, but there is a light smokiness, no, kind of like the red label, no doubt. And there's the honey. They're saying vanilla. Okay, vanilla. Now they're not adding flavoring. You can add flavor into Canadian blended whiskey. You can add flavor into American blended whiskey. But I don't think you can add flavor in to Irish. No, you can't. Irish or Scotch whiskey blended. You can add coloring, the caramel coloring, but not flavoring. If you read the regulations, it does not have an allowance for flavoring. But you say, well, but so American and Canadian blended can have it. Oh, yes. As well as rum and brandy. And they don't even have to disclose that fact. Now there's a number they can't go above. I think it's 2.5%. It'll say not to exceed 2.5% of the product volume. In Canada, I looked at their new regulations. There's no mention of that. It just said flavoring can be added. It doesn't say what kind. Oh, natural flavors. That's all it says. Natural flavor. Doesn't have a number limit anymore. Doesn't have a description of what the flavorings can be. Say natural. It used to be very detailed, like it would say which may include, and they would have like wine, bourbon, other things that other liquors, that rum that they could use for flavoring. Now I just said natural flavors. They probably did that because they know the American blenders can add any kind of natural flavoring. So they said, well, look, we're going to take the limit off. It could be more competitive, in theory at least. Some Canadian whiskeys I find a little heavy-handed on the flavoring, almost like they're trying to prank people. Like they say, well, look, let's add this much vanilla, and then they're at the distillery. Hey, man, nobody's around. The boss ain't around. Add the whole thing. And then you drink it, and it's like, woo. Vanilla flavored whiskey, you would almost start to believe that. Like it's one of those like Crown Royal vanilla, which is actually a liqueur, 35% alcohol. Anyhow, that closes us out for Legacy. It's not a bad product. I mean, okay, I guess it's worth $14.99. On its own, it's fine. Not great, but okay. But it cannot make it in competition. I put it in competition against the other Scotch whiskeys. It got just obliterated. And that's just too bad for them. Oh, well, it's not my problem. All right. This Johnnie Walker Gold Label definitely lives up to the price point, and it's certainly worth buying. All right, y'all take care and have a nice Sunday and a great week. Bye-bye.